The upper left, the mind, is subjective. It's interior. It's mind with a capital M. It's our reality that is non-physical, non-objective. So I've created a distinction. Subjective and objective. Material and immaterial. Because your, for instance, belief that you're going to wake up tomorrow morning is not something that has any objective existence. You can't actually hold that in your hand or measure it under a microscope or put a ruler next to it and see how long it is or weigh it for how much mass it contains. But that belief that you're going to wake up tomorrow is pretty damn real. And your entire subjective existence is real. Your consciousness, your thoughts, your beliefs, your ideas, your very subject, the very I in you. All of that is immaterial. It's a subject, not an object. And it's real. But in the upper right, the object is also real. And the object can be measured. And it does have mass. And it does occupy location. An object exists somewhere in space or time. We have a brain right now. We can locate it in space and time. But you can't locate the value that you hold that all humans are created equal. Show me where that exists in space and time. Or physically measure it or tell me its mass. Or the experience of love for your child. The love doesn't exist in space and time. It doesn't have mass. It's an interiority. And both of those dimensions are fundamental and irreducible dimensions. Because we know that the mind can think non-material thoughts over and over and over again and change the physical brain. And we know that the physical brain can be stimulated in ways that it creates macro states that turn into micro states that change the quality of our thoughts. They're connected, but they don't reduce to each other. Your subject and your object are in relationship, but they're irreducible. Your brain doesn't create your mind, and your mind doesn't create your brain. They arise as two sides of a coin. Two different perspectives of one thing. One of them is formless and immaterial and subjective, and one of them has form, mass, and matter, and is locatable in space and time, and is an object. And so to start with then, when we start to expand our consciousness, we start to be able to take a higher view, we start to get out of the reactivity that's happening in our life, we can now take a look at our mind and our physical dimension, which isn't just our brain, but all of our physical body and even behavior, which is objective. We can measure our behavior and locate it in space and time. And if all we do is try to change the brain without doing anything in the mind, we're being very partial. And if all we do is try to change the mind without doing anything in the brain, we're being very partial. But it doesn't end there. Because both the upper left and both the upper right have a plural. And the plural to your individual interiority or subjectivity is shared interiority or shared subjectivity. And the fact that you and I can have a conversation right now, and our interiors can resonate in such a way that we can create some kind of mutual meaning, is a sign of absolute fact of this shared interiority. Without it, we could have zero communication. And that lower left is defined by relationships. And all of your relationships have shared interiority. The bad ones, the good ones, the co-workers, the significant others, the teachers, and the communities that you're in, and the dominant culture, that is the massive relationship that determines so much of the thoughts that arise in the upper left. And you cannot not be in relationship. If you're going to start a universe, you start with 4 dimensions. Everything is in some type of interior resonance with something else. And it impacts you on every level throughout the 4 dimensions. The 4 dimensions tetra evolve. They're sewn together. So we have the shared relationship in the lower left. In the lower right, we have what I call the environment. Can also be called the systems side of it. It is what these shared interiorities create objectively. The socioeconomic systems, the political systems, the infrastructures, even the roadways, right? And all of that, how you're relating to the socioeconomic systems, how you're relating to the political systems. These systemic structures impact your interiority, right? If the subway that you're trying to get here on in the city of Chicago is broken down every day that you go get in it, and you end up here late, might that change our relationship? And might that change in our relationship impact your upper left individual mind and sense of well-being, which impacts your brain? And both of these impact your other relationships. And that can impact how you're operating on the roadways, in the political systems, in the socioeconomic systems. If you're broke because you can't function in a late modernist capitalistic system, might that impact the quality of your thinking in the upper left? And might the quality of your thinking impact the shared interiorities that you have with other people? All of this resonates in every direction and cannot be reduced. And that operating system needs to be installed in the species. because without it you have a bad map and you will walk in circles.